Hey, I'm artist Daniel Eskridge, and this is the story behind my work, Mary's Child. My work is a 28.75 by 23-inch oil pastel on sanded paper. It's a bit of an unusual size, but I had to make it to fit a frame that I had picked up from an estate sale. And to make it, I used Sennelier oil pastels, which are the kind of the highest quality oil pastel you can find. And it's based on the story of Mary's Child. This story is one of the fairy tales collected by the brothers Grimm, and it goes a bit like this. A poor woodcutter and his wife cannot afford to feed their daughter, so the Virgin Mary comes and offers to take the girl with her to heaven. In Mary's kingdom, the girl grows up surrounded by beauty and angels, and she's given the keys to 13 doors. She's allowed to open 12 of the doors, but the 13th, she's told by Mary, is forbidden. So one day, while Mary is out, the girl starts opening those doors, and behind the first 12, she finds one of each of the apostles. Then eventually, she decides to disobey Mary's instructions, and she opens the 13th door, and there she sees the Holy Trinity, and she's struck with awe. But when she does this, the key stains her finger gold, and she can't wash the gold away from her finger. So she tries. When Mary comes back, she tries to hide her finger. And then, out of fear, she denies ever having opened the door. Of course, Mary knows she's lying, so because of her disobedience and her lying, Mary casts her out of heaven and takes away her voice. The girl wakes up in a forest, unable to speak, and she lives there for some time until eventually one day the king comes by on a hunt as part of one of his hunting parties and finds her and is smitten by her. And eventually they marry, and the girl has 3 children. But each time a child is born, Mary appears and demands she confess her sin of opening the forbidden door. Each time, the queen denies it, and Mary takes away the child. The king and his court start to get suspicious of this, and after the disappearance of the 3rd child, they start to believe that she's killing the children, and they have no choice but to burn her at the stake, and she can't defend herself because she's still mute, still unable to speak. However, right as she's about to be executed, the queen finally breaks down and admits her disobedience. I'm not sure how she does that without a voice, but she does. And then the moment she confesses, her children are restored to her, her speech comes back, and she is forgiven. And Mary appears, blessing her for finally telling her the truth. Now, there's a lot of versions of this story. It likely comes out of some common story from medieval European folklore. The Brothers Grimm version is a little unusual among their fairy tales in how it has a religious theme. Most of their fairy tales typically do not. There are a lot of other versions of this story, though, where rather than the Virgin Mary, the matron is a godmother, the fairy queen. There's some where it's actually Morgan Le Fay, tying it into Arthurian legend. And there's even one really dark version of it where the girl, rather than being taken in by a matron, foster mother, or something like that, she marries a rich serial killer. Of course, it's not known that he's a serial killer, but a rich man who turns out to be a serial killer, and his name is Bluebeard. And rather than the girl's finger being stained gold by the key is stained red by the blood of the Bluebeard's victims that she finds in the Forbidden Room. So mine's not quite that. Mine doesn't depict a story quite that dark. Mine is based really on the Brothers Grimm version. And it's to depict the moment just before the woman awakens in the forest, just after she's been exiled. Something that's a bit unusual, or an unusual feature for this, is that I actually used a gold metallic oil pastel on her index finger. It doesn't come through particularly well looking at it on the internet, but when you see the image in person, if you move, the light strikes that gold metallic finger, so you can kind of see it shining. It's kind of interesting. And the fox is just something I added for fun. So I hope you enjoyed my story. Thanks, and good night.